a bit of a story with you today to highlight a key point of my messages that I talk about every single day of my life and that I live, eat and breathe, which is the desire for humans like us to have freedom, ultimate freedom. You know, the freedom to be who you are, the freedom to live the way you want, the freedom to give your family what they want. It's all about choice, right? So when you think about freedom in that way, to choose, to be able to have that privilege to choose and live a free life, how does that come? My question is, how does that come without money? And so the money piece all of a sudden ties in straight away. And this is what I work with, and this is what I'm so passionate about. So I want to share a story with you about this beautiful client that I worked with many, many years ago. And she initially came to me after a bit of a split up with her hubby. And she had 2 kids, and he had always managed the finances. She was quite high in her corporate career, so she was a professional girl working full-time with 2 kids. Her husband was also working. But because of her culture and because of the way she was raised, she had those 2 major blocks when it comes to money for women that I have found and stats show, and they are, firstly, the lack of self-belief in themselves and their ability to manage money and to make investment decisions. And secondly, which is something absolutely universal, man, woman, child, whatever you are, is lack of time. Lack of time is killing us, right? So when I sat down to talk to her, you know what I felt really bad about? I felt incredibly terrible. I just really felt emotionally connected to her in such a way because she felt, believe it or not, she felt shame. She felt shame around the fact that she didn't know what to do now. She felt embarrassed talking to me. I'm another woman, and that should never happen, particularly in this sort of relationship where someone comes to you and in absolute confidence shares their most deepest, darkest thoughts and their lives with you. It should never happen. But she felt embarrassed and she felt ashamed that someone like her, highly intelligent, highly successful, come out of a marriage. The kids were a bit older, they were in their teenage years, and she was struggling with the money piece. And she was beating herself up saying, Trace, you know, how does someone like me do so well in life and end up in this position? How did I get here? Before I got married, I was managing my own money. And you know what? After I got married, I just handed it over to my then husband. And she was feeling this sense of disbelief, couldn't believe where she'd got to, how she had allowed this to happen, and the guilt and the shame around it. So the guilt and the shame has got to go, because there's no place for guilt and shame. We're all human, and we all have parts of our lives that we just got to get through, right? We can't be everything all the time, and we can't do everything perfectly right all the time. So that's okay that that's what that happened at that point. But from that point on, I sat down, and the first thing I asked her was, where did she come from when it came to money? What were the conversations around money? So I've spoken about this, and if you've been watching my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We went through that process, and sure enough, there it was, right there in front of us. She had come from a family where money was scarce, there was a lot of anxiety around money, and therefore she wasn't equipped to handle it, and she really did hand it on to her hubby. And culturally speaking, she came from a background that men predominantly dealt with the finances. So it was just, it was subconscious, like she didn't even know she was doing it. It just happened. And I know, it just happens. I know how you feel. I work with women like this all of the time. I come from a similar culture, right? So I get it. I know how it feels. But that doesn't have to be the be it and end all. We can change that anytime we like. The second piece was the lack of time. That I even struggle with these days. But in terms of finding more time, you know what I always say? If it's important enough, you will allocate the time. And now more than ever, we cannot say or use those excuses that, you know, I just don't have the time to do this. You must make the time to do it, because it's of absolute urgency, and it is literally going to affect your life? Do you want the choice? Do you want to make decisions for yourself? Do you want the life that you dream about? Do you want to have the type of freedom, the type of dream life for yourself and your family? It only comes with one thing. Sure, there's lots of things around it, but you can't get anything done without this. And this is called money. And money is a skill that's not taught, but I teach it. And I've worked with women over the last 30 years teaching this. So coming back to this meeting with this beautiful client. Now, I'm happy to say and happy to let you know we've worked through all of those issues. And not only is she successful still in her career and gone in leaps and bounds and gone onto an entrepreneurial path, but she's smashing it when it comes to her money because she stopped telling herself she can't do it. The self-belief we had to claw back, yeah? We had to work through that process of building that self-belief. And the self-belief piece isn't that simple. You know, we have to dig deep. We have to look at it from a where did you come from money? What are the cultural things affecting you? What are the societal things being told to us as women and still to this very day? What are the images being thrown at us? What are the conversations that are being had? What are we listening to? What is our subconscious mind saying? It all plays in the background. And obviously the timepiece. We've just got to make the time because it's important enough now more than ever. And guess what, girls? Our daughters are watching us. Our nieces are watching us. Our friends' daughters are watching us if we're not mums. We're being watched every single day. What are we going to do? Are we going to keep doing the same thing that our mothers and grandmothers did? Or are we going to take the bull by the horns and get into the 21st century? Go, it's time. So I just wanted to share that with you. The shame and guilt's got to stop. That's not fair on you and it's not fair on anyone else around you because that is another hindrance to helping you move forward. Forget the shame and guilt. It doesn't matter. You know what I always say? Tomorrow's a new day and you get to start again. That's the beauty of a brand new day. And so with that, I'm going to leave you with those thoughts and I thank you for listening.